It's Labor Day weekend here at Hunting Valley Farm, and time to do a little late summer feeding for the bees. We feed them a syrup of sugar and water, which we put in feeders on top of the hives. They hold a gallon or two each, and this time of year that usually lasts the bees a week or so. Each of the hives has its own feeder, and there's 60 or 70,000 bees in each hive. We also open each of the hives and pull out frames to inspect them, check to make sure that they have fresh brood, and check their honey stores.
This one is heavy, and it's full of honey, and it has lots of brood on it. And this is all the brood, and this is all the honey. And in between here is a band of cells that have stored pollen in them. And I know by the color of this that this is newly laid brood, and that these will be baby bees. And this is the perfect shape and dimension. If you think about it, the bees live in a sort of basketball-sized ball inside the hive, and this is the upper half of the basketball, and it's the center slice. Now this is our feeder, and the bees crawl up through this center, and then they go down on this screen to the surface of the syrup that we put in there. This is just crystallized syrup on this end. We'll wash this out of here next time we come up. And on this side we put a mixture of sugar and water. And then the bees eat that, and I can tell how much the bees have eaten by how low the level of the syrup is. And I'll just fill that up. Like this. Those bees will have plenty of feed. In addition to honey and water, the bees also need protein. So we're going to feed the bees a substitute for pollen. Pollen is their usual source of protein. And the protein is important because it's part of the food that the worker bees and the nurse bees feed to the larvae that are inside the cells. So I'm going to take this powder. This is a commercially produced, it's called Bee Pro, protein powder. I don't know what all it's made from. And I'm going to put it in this tray. And it looks like a white, kind of tan colored powder. And I'm just going to put it in here, like this. And the bees will think that's pollen, and they'll come and feed on that. And this 10 colonies of bees probably will eat this up in a few days, and this will then go into cells on the comb to be stored for winter use or for spring use next year. And what we'll do is, in order for the bees to find it a little better, we have to enhance its fragrance a little bit. So I've just got some honey from the kitchen, and I'm just going to put a little honey on this, just over in one corner, and the bees will find this just from the fragrance of the honey. So we have this tray, and then I've made this cover. And you can see this is just a piece of plywood with some lag screws in it for legs, and it will sit on top of this, and then the bees can fly in underneath it. And what this does is keep the rain and the birds out of the protein substitute or pollen substitute that we're feeding them. So I'll put this right here, and then I'll just put this on top of it like this, and the bees will fly in underneath it. And then these bees will have an adequate supply of protein to feed the baby bees that they're putting into the cells, and the nurse bees are taking care of. You can see there's a bee already in here, and she's immediately going to the honey to feed. Now, how do I know that's a female? All the bees are female. except for the drones, and there are no drones here.